has their own special day. For me, it's May 17th. It's my favorite day. It's my birthday. In order to celebrate my birthday, I always have cake. Although I love cookies, I have a cake that combines my love for cookies and cake. And I'm going to show you exactly how I merge both worlds together. Coming up next. Hi, I'm Diette, and welcome to Turtle's Tasty Treats, where we make baking from scratch easy. Today, I'm really excited to share with you my ultimate vanilla chocolate chip cookie cake. My birthday cake is comprised of 3 components: my vanilla chocolate chip cake, my chocolate chip cookie cake, and my chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to start with my vanilla chocolate chip cake. The ingredients that you would need are 2 cups of unsalted butter, 4 eggs, 2 cups of whole milk, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 4 cups of granulated sugar, 5 cups of all-purpose flour sifted, 1 teaspoon of salt, 5 tablespoons of baking powder, and 2 cups of chocolate chips. To mix up my ingredients, I'll be using my KitchenAid stand mixer fixed with my paddle attachment, a large bowl, a whisk, and my spatula. Now, I'll be baking cookies and cake. For my cookies, I'll be setting my oven to 375 degrees. For my cake, 350 degrees. I already have my butter into my stand mixer, and I'm getting ready to mix it up for about 7 minutes. This is going to allow for my butter to get nice and whipped and to add some air into my butter. Let's mix it up. To immediately add my vanilla flavor to my cake mix, I'm going to go ahead and add my vanilla extract straight to my butter. And I'm getting ready to mix it up. Now I'm ready to add the sugar to my butter a little bit at a time. And I'm going to mix it up each time that I add the sugar. Let's mix it up. Taking my spatula, I'm going to go ahead and scrape down the sides of my bowl. And I'm not going to forget the bottom. Now for my eggs. I'm going to crack my eggs into a separate bowl. I also have another bowl to capture all of my eggshells. Now I always crack my eggs into a separate bowl. This way, if there's a bad egg or a shell falls in, it falls into my separate bowl and not my cookie dough or my cake batter. And now I'm going to fully incorporate that egg into my cake batter. Let's mix it up. Taking my spatula again, I'm going to go ahead and scrape down the sides of the bowl. I want to make sure that everything is incorporating well together. Now I'm ready to sift my flour. So I'm going to go ahead and use my sifter and sift all 5 cups of my flour. By doing this, I ensure there are no lumps of flour in my cake batter. Now I'm going to add my salt and my baking powder. I'm going to take my whisk and I'm going to go ahead and mix it up. Now it's time for me to add my flour and my milk to my cake batter. I'm going to be alternating between my flour and my milk, mixing it up each time that I add one of these ingredients. Now I'm going to take my spatula and scrape down the sides of my bowl. Make sure that everything is well incorporated one last time. Let's mix it up. Taking my spatula, I'm going to go ahead and remove all of the cake batter off of my paddle. Now I'm ready to fold in my chocolate chips into my cake batter. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and add some flour to my chocolate chips. This will help prevent my chocolate chips from sinking to the bottom of my cake batter. Now that my chocolate chips are covered in flour, I now can add them to my cake batter. Now using 4 8-inch cake pans, I'm going to go ahead and divide my chocolate chip vanilla cake batter into all 4 of my parchment lined cake pans. To help portion out my cake batter, I'll be using my ice cream scoop. Now I'm going to take my spatula and I'm just going to smooth out my cake batter. Now, taking a few more chocolate chips, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle them on top of each one of my cake pans. Now, I will be baking my cakes in the oven for 35 minutes. I'll be baking them 2 at a time. Mix up my chocolate chip cookie cake. I'll be using my chocolate chip cookie dough recipe. The ingredients needed for the cookie dough are 3 cups of unsalted butter, 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, 1.5 cups of granulated sugar, 1.5 cups of light brown sugar, 2 eggs, and 2 egg yolks, 2 teaspoons of salt, 4 teaspoons of baking soda, 5 cups of all-purpose flour, and 4 cups of chocolate chips. Now, taking my cake pan that's already lined with parchment paper, I'm going to fill up my pan with my cookie dough. Taking my spatula, I'm just going to go ahead and smooth out the top of my cookie dough cake. Now it's time to pop my chocolate chip cookie cake into the oven for 20 minutes. Now that my cakes have completely cooled, I went ahead and leveled each one of my cakes. For my vanilla cakes, I added simple syrup to my cakes. This allows for my cakes to remain moist. I also went ahead and prepared my vanilla buttercream frosting. Now, if you want to know how I created my vanilla buttercream frosting, then let me know in the comments below, and I will sure to upload a video that shows you step by step how easy and yummy making your own buttercream frosting from scratch can be. So, I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my buttercream and I'm going to spread it onto my cake board. And I'm going to take one layer of my cake and place it onto my cake board. Now I'm ready to add a layer of buttercream to my first layer of cake. Now to add the second layer of my vanilla chocolate chip cake. Adding some more buttercream. Now the middle layer of my birthday cake is going to be a chocolate cookie cake. Time to add some more of this wonderful vanilla buttercream frosting. Now for the fourth layer of my cake. Adding the buttercream. And now for my final layer of cake. I'm actually going to flip it over and place the bottom side on top, so I can make sure that I have a nice flat surface. And placing the last bit of my buttercream on top. And now it's time to frost the sides of my cake. This is going to lock in all of the crumbs so that when I put my final layer of frosting on, there will be no crumbs on my cake. Using my cake comb with a nice, smooth, straight edge, I'm now going to spin my cake so that I can get a nice, smooth crumb coat. Now that the sides are just like I like them, I'm going to go ahead and smooth the top off just a little bit more. So that my crumb coat can completely set, I'm ready to place my cake inside the refrigerator. The last thing that you would need to do is bake some chocolate chip cookies. I use about 2.5 dozen for my cake. In order for my cookies to stick onto my cake, I'll be using my vanilla buttercream frosting to stick my cookies onto the cake. Now that all of my cookies are on my cake, to create my fault line, I'm going to place my cake into the refrigerator to set up. Now that my fault line has set, I'm going to take my piping bag filled with my buttercream and I'm going to pipe on the top and the bottom of my cookies. Now that my buttercream is on the top and the bottom of my cookies, I'm going to take my cake comb and I'm going to go ahead and smooth out my buttercream. Now that my buttercream is smoothed out on the sides of my cake, now it's time to add more buttercream to the top of my cake. Using my offset spatula, I'm going to go ahead and smooth the top of my cake. Now that my buttercream is on top and smoothed out, it's now time to top my cake with some cookies. Now that all of cookies are on top of my cake, I'm going to let it go into the refrigerator to set up for 10 minutes. Now I'm ready to paint on the fault line of my cake. I'll be using edible glitter mixed with a little water. Now that my fault line is painted in place, the only thing that I need to add to my birthday cake is a happy birthday sign. Using my chef knife, I'm ready to cut into my cake. And now it's time to taste our tasty treat. The cookie, the cake, yummy, yummy, yummy. I'll see you in the next one and subscribe for more.